Okay, this is the upstairs HVAC indoor air handler. This air filter is at the unit. It's 16 by 24 by 1. This air filter is dirty. It was installed backwards. I'm putting it back like I found it. It's a little gas furnace. The air return, okay, this cavity by today's standards will be lined with a safety pan, and it's not. And the air return as it is, okay, a lot of these have safety switches on it, but the fan doesn't run when you have it off. I don't think this one ever had a safety switch. It's of a certain age. Okay, now, if the carbon monoxide spills out from the furnace compartment here, it comes out the door, gets sucked into these grills, gets broadcast up through the system, all throughout the house. This door should have been sealed, okay, so that carbon monoxide cannot escape from it. We should have a care and use manual, which we don't. Okay, and because the door is sealed, okay, that's our makeup air. Now what we need is another air source come in for our combustible air. It needs to come in down here. Okay, our combustible air doesn't need to come from around the door. Our combustible air needs to come from the exterior to 6-12 inches from the floor to provide combustible air for the furnace. See how rusty that is up in there? I think that's got some age on it. I don't trust it. Trust it. Okay, so we have improper ventilation, the door is not properly secured, and that's probably grandfathered in, but we do not have a safety pan underneath there. Coming on along, we've got our data plate right here. It tells us that this is old. How old is it, bud? It's real old. Let's see if I can get a picture of the data plate so you can see my method. Okay. It's over 14 years old. It's over 20 years old. Let's keep looking. We can see things. Put this all up. Everybody sees how we put it all up, how it goes back together. I'll tell you what, I usually have more trouble out of these older systems. That thing just acts like it's supposed to. This is a blessing. So we come across here. This is our gas connector. We do not have a sediment trap. Gas connector has been replaced. Okay, electrical's coming into the indoor air handler. Coming up here. And we've got reverse polarity. So I don't even know if we've got grounding or not. Okay, we don't have a sediment trap. Also, these connectors no longer are acceptable. Alright, they were at one time, I get that. This electric cable is closer than 6 feet to the floor, so that should have been protected. And a conduit should have had a regular connector and then a switch, not a plug. Should have had a disconnect switch. Coming on up here, these screens, okay, at one time they were required. See all the insulation on the screen? That's why they're not required anymore. The screen is an obsolete system. This is our evaporator coil right here. And I'd like to get some information off of that data plate, but since this cabinet matches this cabinet, I'm going to say they're the same age. Alright, this is your primary, actually it's your evaporator drain pipe. You should have a P-trap. This cap, this access should have a cap on it. Should have a carry use manual. Did I mention that already? Now we should have a secondary drain line. We don't. We don't have a secondary drain. So what happens here? Well, any water that comes in just drains right down into the dining room. Okay. Corrosion coming down the pipe there a little bit. And what is this? Is this oil? We don't want to be leaking refrigerant. So in lieu of a secondary drain line, we can put a safety switch, a float switch in here. And that way if this gets clogged, then it'll turn the air conditioner off and you know you've got a problem. Then this unit has a thermostat, programmable, but inside of a bedroom. Thermostats are dumb animals. They only know what you tell them to do. If you set this thing on 75, it's going to run and run and run like I did. It's going to run and run and run till you get to 75, and it won't ever get to 75. It'll never quit. So if I put it to 76, and I'm comfortable here in the wintertime, I'm comfortable here in the summertime, whatever it is, I'm comfortable. I close this door. This thermostat, all it knows is what I asked it to do. So we're comfortable. We're good. What's happening on the other side of the door? They could be burning up. They could be freezing. It's not going to... The thermostat doesn't know what temperature it is out here. So the thermostat should have been located in a hallway. Our hall lights aren't working. What's that about? So what did we learn? We learned that our thermostat's in a bedroom. In the south bedroom. We learned that we've got a screen. We learned that we do not have a secondary drain line. We learned that we do not have a primary drain line P-trap. We learned that our drain line is not capped off. We learned that we do not have a carrying use manual. We learned that our door is not properly sealed. We learned that our air return is too close to the unit. Now we can't move the unit unless if we fix the door and we fix the ventilation, you don't have to move the vent. If you can't fix the door and the ventilation, then the vent should be moved 10 feet away from the unit. We learned that we got a rusty indoor air handler. We learned we don't have a secondary drain line, we don't have a P-trap, we don't have a cap. We learned that we didn't have a sediment trap for our gas piping. We learned that we got the wrong kind of electric power supply connection. We learned that we do not have a switch. We learned that we got some exposed electric cable that's coming down to the unit. Well, that's a lot. Yeah, I know. And also, this is what we learned. This is the GFCI and the pass-through. We used to call them Jack and Jill, now it's the pass-through bathroom. And I test the GFCI right here. And the lights went out. Look at that. Lights went on. The receptacle outlets and the luminaries are on the same circuit. Okay? And since they're on the same, they're not supposed to be on the same circuit. See how this one works. Okay. That will not reset because we had to come in here to this one. That was the north. We had to come into the south one because this is the one that tripped. Look at that. So it's nice that you have an additional GFCI receptacle. But it's not necessary. You could have used a conventional receptacle in this example. What? Oh, because it reset. Okay.